Baby, I've been out for so long, longer now than I was in. I ain't saying I'm some cowboy. Right now I'd go back again. But I'm so thankful for my family, my wife and our 2 kids. Oh, most nights I thank God they don't know where I've been. We be painted on our faces, where we learn to walk the wire, where they fed us just like lions, and they watched us jump through fire. The way we walked around in circles, the way we worked into the ground. Well, I may not miss the circus, but I damn sure miss the clown. Oh, damn, I miss those clowns. So that's why you find me out here, in a place you never feel. And I know that you don't understand, and I pray you never will. Where we painted on our faces, where we learned to walk the wild, where they fed us just like lions, and they watched us jump through fire. Way we walked around in circles, way we worked into the ground. Well, I may not miss the circus, the way they fed us just like lions, the way they watched us jump through fire. When they taught us we would fear this man, well, they turned us into liars. The way we walked around in circles, the way they trained us just like hounds. Well, I may not miss the circus, but I damn sure miss the clown. Oh, I may not miss the circuit, I will always be a clown.
And welcome to another edition of the True Patriot Outfitters Podcast. You were just listening to Mr. Tyler J. If you joined us last Veterans Day up at Shields, Johnstown, then you had a chance to see Mr. Tyler J. live. And if you have been following us here on social media, you know we had that benefit concert. Tyler had another battle he had to deal with there, and we circled the wagons, got everything together. That is awesome. Tyler J Music, go check out his stuff. That is one of, if that song doesn't punch you somewhere in the feels, then you're just not living, in my personal opinion. Good stuff. Hey, folks, so we got a lot of stuff rapidly coming together here, and I apologize up front to everybody out there for not promoting this properly. It has been a crazy last week and a half here. Getting ready for our opener with the CKB. We have the two killer hooks that come in first and second with us here tonight. And then, of course, we have the All American Kayak Classic we've been prepping for and trying to go down. This is probably the biggest event of the year. So it's been a little hectic around here. This episode is brought to you by a new sponsor, folks. This is something I've been holding close to my chest here, been working with. I don't have words for this. I'm humbled and I am just giddy. Inside. I'm so very proud to be a part of this family, be a part of this team on here. It is with Wright and McGill, otherwise, as most of y'all know them as, Eagle Claw and Trocar. I have the opportunity to now join that team and obviously benefit from being a part of that gigantic, amazing encyclopedia of fishing knowledge out there. Have used the product since I can remember, man. I was talking to them today and I remember those plastic little long hook holding boards that had the spring-loaded deals on them, man, that I had my Snell hooks all hooked up as a kid. And, dude, it's like, we got them right over here, and boom, walks me over to it. It was super cool to see this. And, yeah, man, this episode brought to you by Trocar here. We're excited. We're loaded. We're ready for Truman now with a fresh set of terminal tackle. Got our hooks and sinkers, everything lined up here. We're ready to go win some money. But before we do that, let's go ahead and bring in, now we tried to get the top three guys. Chatfield was the scene where this all went down, Chatfield Reservoir here in Colorado. And of course, you know, day before, day after, no worries. The day of, freezing temperatures and snow. There were 3 of 28 anglers that caught a limit. And we invited all 3 of them to get here. Jason, unfortunately, our third place, had previous commitments. He wanted to be here with these guys. But we did happen to get the man that won it and the man that was hot on his heels. Literally a quarter inch separated these two guys. So without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Trev Stuckey. Trev, welcome to the show.
What's up, Gene?
And we'll bring in the Ogre Slayer himself, Mr. Scott Brands. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Hey, Gene. Hi, Trev. How's it going?
What's up, Scott?
So yeah, man, you know, I don't know if you guys did it, but like the next morning on Sunday, I may have done my best Eminem impersonation to the sky because it was like the perfect weather that next morning. Bluebird out. It was relatively warm. That was a miserable tournament morning, y'all. Oh my goodness. I don't mind bad weather. I kind of like it. It makes it tough. I like that part. Mm-hmm. But dude, when your gear's freezing up, come on. You can't cast. Did you guys run into the same thing? Obviously you had to.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, frozen guides all day long.
Yep.
Matt Flanagan put that video up there that gave a real good, you know, shot of kind of what we were dealing with. The only video I was able to throw up there was me trying to get my yak out of the back of the truck. My straps were frozen. I had to literally take my water bottle and pour it on the straps and then crunch the nylon straps like that to try to, you know, untie them to get the thing out.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest tournament I've ever fished conditions wise. I was beat by the time I got home, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was a rough one. Hats off to all of us for gutting that one out. I mean, that was one all of us are going to remember for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I took some comfort, and I told Eric this today. I took comfort when I heard that he and Leslie were sore. And I'm like, I don't even have a pedal kayak, and I was sore. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Am I just that out of shape? But I think it was just that the cramping and the cold and the moving the yak around. And I did get out and walk all the way up to the parking lot about 11 o'clock because the one piece of equipment on me that wasn't Blackfish was my stupid boots, which I think, like, after talking with you, Trev, I may have something wrong with my boots. But, yeah, I couldn't feel my left big toe. It was, like, gone. So I went up to the truck and dried everything out. And then they came back. But yeah, I'm like, I couldn't have been sore after just that, dude. Come on.
I would reach out to those guys, Gene. I bet they'll make it right with you.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm going to follow up that after the Classic there. So it looks like we're dealing with the Classic down there's going to be some rain. But let's get back to this thing here, man. Only 3 anglers out of 28 straight hooks caught a limit. Now Flanagan, let's give him a special shout out in 4th place. He did put 4 up there. But then there were 1, 2, 3, 4 people got 3. And then after that, the rest of us, down the list there. What do you think made that? I mean, besides the obvious that most people think it is, just the snow, the weather, but why do you think it was, so tight there? Because I heard the walleye tournament that went on after us, there wasn't a single bass that got caught that night. That was the rumor that I had heard from all of those boats that were on after us, and their weather was a lot better.
I think Josh Coleman nailed a good one towards the end. I think over 8 inches. Yeah. I think
okay.
That won that. Yeah.
So one.
It was a late catch, I believe.
Nice. But what, Scott? What would you say? What made that so difficult down there at Chatfield compared to other years and other events there?
Yeah, I think it's been our crazy weather this spring in general. I've gotten out a few times, and every time I've gotten out, it's been a grind for me. I hit Boyd for fun, and usually just looking at history, April is usually the month where I'm smashing them. And this month is just been different than previous years. We're still looking at water temps in the 40s. I mean, right. I'm seeing like 60s typically by the end of April. So the fact that water temps at Chatfield, I think I saw 48, and I think Trev said he saw 50 by the dam. But our water temps are still so low. And going into that tournament, I brought some winter tactics. I brought blade baits and jigging wraps, and I tried that stuff for a little bit too, thinking they might be way down there deep. But so that's my best guess. I don't really know about Chatfield much. I didn't pre-fish. That was the first time that I got down there was tournament day this year. But I talked to Strawbridge, who said that 4 of the guys went out, I think, a week before the tournament, and they all skunked. So it sounds like it had been slow leading up to the tournament.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the 3 of us. I think all 3 of us were in the same boat. None of us got any time on the water prior there because, Trev, you were just coming back from Texas. Talk about a culture shock. Good night. And so the difference is you guys showed up and acted like, anglers. Me, I was just out there, fat old man complaining about how frozen all my gear was. Yeah, I literally got 2 bites the whole day. But I will be honest, I fished it total winter. Because when I saw that water temperature, I couldn't get my head out of that. I did not think pre-spawn. I abandoned the thought of looking for staging, and I started going for winter haunt stuff, So I did start shallow. But only almost like practice casting it. And then I immediately moved out to about that 10, 12, and then I jumped further out to 15, 20, and just kept rolling like that, looking, because I don't have any history on that lake, so I didn't know that, that you've seen 60-degree temps in April at water. That's awesome. I mean, I wish we would have had that.
Right.
So, Trev, leading out there, man, your game plan, you got no practice time, but you do have a little bit of history on that lake, so you had something to draw from there. How much did history play in what you did compared to just reading what was going on as far as conditions were?
Well, I definitely fished spots that I fished in past, tournaments there. What was different for me is kind of like what Scott was saying. I've gotten out a couple times before I went down to Texas, and all the fishing's still early for me too. I'm not finding anything, up shallow. So I just kind of kept that mindset going in since I didn't have any pre-fishing. I figured with that cold front, the cloudy weather, the smallmouth would have pulled out and suspended, and I was just trying to go around looking for active fish. When I first started out, I was just seeing roamers here and there on my active target, and they wouldn't take. I couldn't get any of the roamers to bite. It wasn't until I found them stacked together and had to change a couple cast angles before I got them to bite, and filled my limit in about all my fish came in like an hour and a half. I never culled again after that. So I was fortunate to just find the right group of fish at the right time.
And you had mentioned that at the awards ceremony there, Scott. How about you? Your bite window, was that all morning time thing, or did you actually get it? Any good looks into the afternoon there?
I had a couple of bite windows. My first fish, or first smallmouth, I should say, it came around 8:30 in the morning on a Vision 110 +1, so mid-depth kind of jerkbait deal. I went a couple hours without a bite on that thing. I tried other things, was only getting walleye, and I said, well, I just have to go back to that Vision 110. At least I got something there, and I think I have to lock it in my hand and grind it out. Eventually, I think it was somewhere around 10 o'clock, 10 to probably 11, I caught three smallmouth all out of the same spot, like right in a row. Nice. I was stuck at 4 for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I got another bite window and caught 3, I think within another half an hour, and that was more like 12:30 to 1:30, and then I caught one more towards the end of the day. That was my final cull, so I think I caught 8 or 9 total on the day, but it was mostly those 2 bite windows, and then 2 other fish came separately out of that. So
right. And so you're playing the old Jerkenstein rule with that jerkbait. Now that's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Poor Matt at the end of that thing. He come off there holding his shoulder. He's like, I'm not throwing that again, man. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I actually went to a tournament up on the Wolf River chain up in Wisconsin, and the bite that I had found was a fluke. Running the fluke through the weeds and just jerking that, and then a spook. Dude, by the end of that, after 4 days, 2 days of practice, 3 days of practice actually back then, and then 1 day of tournament, my arms and shoulders and back, my toes, everything hurt from just sitting there wailing on that stuff the whole time. But when you're catching fish, dude, you got the pain through, and just keep putting them in the boat. So, yeah.
I don't know what Trez's experience was. I know he caught him on a jerkbait too, but in the morning, I was really working that thing, and my shoulder was starting to go. I had to lay off of it and just start doing little twitches, and that's when I was starting to get more bites too. So I don't know if Trez had that too. It was the little twitches, not the big jerks, that was getting it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I started out with a Vision 110, but I actually downsized to a Megabass X Nanahan +2 because I needed to get down around 10 feet. That's where those fish were suspended in about 15, 16 feet, and they were all together. I needed to get down, and it's such a finesse bait. It's a 1/4 ounce jerk bait. And basically what you do with that is you get it down to that 10-foot mark, and it's a lot smaller twitch and a little bit of a sweep behind it. At least that's what I was doing. It was more of a twitch, small sweep, pause it, hold it there, and it was deadly.
Isn't that funny, man? The cadence on some of these lures, it can literally make the difference between them trailing you and them biting. You know what I mean? And small cadence adjustments.
Line too. I actually dropped down to 8 pound to throw that. So I was throwing that on 8 pound Tatsu line. So when I would get one, it would take a while to get it to the boat. I mean, I'd play it for quite a while.
I don't know about you, Scott, but for the first time ever, I went out with the lightest gear that I have thrown in years. My influence of Obi-Wan Castrawbridge helped get me to this point. I put 8 pound test line on some drop shot action, and it was the first thing to freeze up on me. That little tiny dinky line stuff. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there and I'm cussing it the whole time, 30-pound braid wouldn't do this.
Right. Yeah, I lost Vision 110. I was throwing the +1 in a French pearl, I think it's called, just a white one, and then the braid that I was using it on, it froze on my line and snapped, and there went $25. So I switched to another one, and it was the last one I had on me. I'm thankful, I didn't have any more gear issues the remainder of the day with that one.
Yeah, I didn't even bring the jerk baits with me on this. I I'm starting to play mind games with myself in the kayak. I'm starting to just focus in on certain presentations that I'm just going to go all in on, and try to work with that. But I'll get back to once I start getting comfy with, a couple other things with the smaller presentation here. I'm still learning Colorado fishing, man. I am geared for the Midwest, not the West Midwest.
Yeah. I'll tell you one story about jerk baits, since we're on the topic. How I learned to fish them was Georgetown Lake and trout fishing, brown trout fishing up there. And I had always hammered them on that lake. And there was one day where I could not get a bite. And finally, I jerked that jerk bait 4 times, so 4 twitches, pause, and then I got hit on that. That was the cadence. 4 twitches and stop, and I ended up with like 20 browns. All my buddies skunk the entire day throwing jerk baits. And that's when I learned, like, cadence can be so important on some days. Like, you wouldn't think it's that important, but sometimes it's that important. It's got to be very specific, and it's crazy.
The trigger for me is usually if I see trailers, right?
Yeah.
It's like if I'm running live scope, if I see them following and not committing, then it's like, okay, I think I got to do something, pause somewhere, drop it, kill it, speed it up, burn it back, something. That's usually the trigger for me. It's tough when you don't have any of that, at your disposal. If you can't see them and if you don't have live scope going, that makes it a little more tricky. But so the whole piece of Colorado fishing, for those joining us that don't know, our waters are pressured, man, and we don't have any grass, very little to no vegetation. I did actually find some vegetation because it got to the point where I was, throwing everything that I had left. I literally was throwing a Bama rig, and I found a section where there was actually some green grass in that lake. Because I'm pulling it through, and all of a sudden I feel, weight, and I'm thinking, ooh. So I lean back into it, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not a fish. And I pull up, and I'm like, hey, looky there. There's a little bit of vegetation. Is that lake covered? I mean, are there vegetation spots, submerged in that? Or is it just kind of a rare that it's going to die off by the time June gets here anyway? Is it mainly a rocky, lake that you would call Chatfield, Trev?
I think the grass in the last couple of years has come a long ways in that lake. That's why I think the largie fishing is getting, to where it is there. It used to be that never known for the nice largemouth that you see in there anymore. But I'm not comfortable on the grass spots in that lake, so I tend to shy more towards rock. I'm more comfortable on rock at that lake. So, I don't fish the grass too much there.
So the thing is also on both south ends of, it's little arms, if you want to call them arms, on both of the southernmost tips of both sides, there's trees galore. Traditionally and historically speaking, do those things ever come into play? Will they, in the summertime, will they hold up on those things? Or is it just there's so much recreation traffic out there that they pull out and get deep? I mean, that's usually what I've seen from some heavy pressured deals. In your experience, Scott, what have you seen down there?
I haven't caught anything out of the trees ever, but whenever I go to Chatfield, which is rarely, I only go there for tournaments, really. I never go down there to fun fish, but I'm kind of like Trev. I mostly focus on the rocks, and I'm mostly targeting smallmouth. Last year, before that KBF event down there, I tried to find some largemouth because I thought they might come into play. I targeted all that stuff, and I couldn't buy a bite. So eventually I just gave up on the largemouth and went after the smallies. But I have seen other guys in the past would like flip jigs near all that wood, and they'd pull out some nice largemouth and stuff like that. I just never personally gotten anything off of them.
See, because that's what the inner me was telling me was, great, put that jig in your hand, son, and get to work on that, on all the laydowns in there. But then temperature rolls in, and now I'm thinking, okay, I need heat, man. We need rocks. I need something, depth or something to really get these guys to go. And at that point, I kind of committed myself to the smallmouth, game, knowing that more than likely that's where they're going to be out there, but could just never find them like you guys did for sure. So we know the conditions themselves were probably some of the hardest to fish out there, but as far as like results go, we know the KBF was there, and they actually put up some pretty decent numbers when the KBF come through, I thought, at least. I mean, for us, for our type of fishing out here. But 74, I mean, in the big scheme of things, those aren't big numbers. But for us that day, those were phenomenal numbers. Both of you guys, putting that up. In your history and your thoughts on this, I mean, Chatfield normally produce bigger than that?
I think it's usually high 70s, low 80s that'll win Chatfield. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what happened in the KBF last year. That was right around there, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not a good journalist, so I didn't do my history research on that. So
I actually think I had the same score. I think I had the same score in that.
74 and a half.
I had to be right there. Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, man, it was absolutely, I mean, it was awesome watching you guys work. It was not a surprise to see the two of you up there. I will say that we kind of, that's kind of especially with Jason in the mix too. It's like, yeah, these are the usual suspects right here that I'm getting my lineup now, that I'm starting to see up there. So, and Eric did join in listening. I think my introduction of you, Scott, got a response from Eric at least there, as he is the ogre.
Yeah.
He and I talked a lot about that, about the lake out there, and kind of what we had seen through there for sure. But I have a feeling he's getting revitalized. So just know you guys got targets on you. Okay, we're all coming for you now, and that's that. So we've got our esteemed guest sitting in the green room right now. We're getting ready to bring him in here. I wanted to talk about with you guys. Now, Trev, this sucks for us in the club, but you can't make, because of scheduling, you can't get to the Classic there. Scott, you're going to the Classic though, yes?
No, I'm also not getting down there because of schedule.
You're not getting down there.
No.
We need to get you guys better jobs.
Yeah, I wish I could get down there, but no, I'll be going to the Wisconsin Minocqua later this summer, as well as Mississippi River in Iowa, but I'm not going to make the Classic, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Those are going to be some phenomenal events. How about you, Trev? Are you going to be able to try to hit any of them?
Probably not. I'm gonna after next week I'm heading to North Dakota to fish their Bassmaster State Championship. James
Gotcha.
Branson's put together a pretty awesome deal up there, and I promised I'd head up that way. And with the Texas trip, and we just moved this week to a brand new house, so we're getting unpacked. That's why I don't have any of my cool stuff behind me, none of my cool swim baits and stuff. But we'll get there. Maybe next show I'll have that already. So yeah, it was just a bit of a scheduling deal for me, but wish all of the guys from Colorado. We have a bunch of great dudes that are heading out that way, including yourself, Gene. And you guys are going to represent us well, and hopefully we get a check brought home.
That's the name of it, man. This is I am officially making the statement. I was going to hold this a little bit closer here, but for next year, our national event push that we're doing, we are 100%. The only national trail we will be doing will be the All American. There's no question about it. To me, it's just home, man. And I love what they stand for, how that's run. The anglers are put there, not saying anything disparaging about the other trails out there, but I love the fact that I don't have to drive 23 hours to go to an event. And until they come out of the southeast of this country and the same old, stuff, I love the fact that we get new stuff out there. That Minocqua deal, if you can get up there, that one, I think we actually are going to attract a few names with that, because it doesn't conflict with any of their schedules. So you might see some of the more prolific names from our sport joining us up at Minocqua there. That's going to be pretty awesome. That could be a heck of an event up there. So, well, listen, fellas, thank you guys so very, very much. Be following along with the Colorado stuff. We'll keep as much content flowing as we can up there for the All American. And you guys, like I said, as usual, you go out there and you represent well. This was one last guy. I did want to put this comment up here, because this is a testament to the guys we have in the CKB. We're so fortunate to have two phenomenal clubs and options. But our man, Tad Schoen, was coming from Grand Junction. For those of you who don't know, that's like 5 hours away, and you got to pass the Rocky Mountains over the pass to get here. And the poor guy got stuck at the top of the pass. He couldn't get through to get down here, but he tried, man. He drove the couple hours to try to get over the pass, but Mother Nature put a stop to him there. So that was super cool. And I have a feeling I'll be interviewing you guys again, but hopefully, I can join you in this. And my wall can look like Scott's there. That looks pretty impressive.
Finally got that shield there.
Exactly. You got that number one
Yeah.
shield up.
Last time I was on the podcast, if you remember, I said that was one of my goals this year. I want to get one of those shields, and I finally got one.
It's done, so you can stop now.
Yeah. That met my goal. I think I'm gonna go out on top like Elway and just call it a season.
There you go.
No, you're
There
not,
you go.
man. No, that's not you, man. You're going to be at it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen again, gentlemen. Thank you guys so very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming on here and always supporting and teaching this old guy some new tricks out there. And I will see you guys very, very soon.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Gene.
You
Take
bet.
care.
All right, folks, we are going to go ahead and transition over to the All American Kayak Series. We have with us the man in charge, the big toe, the big fish, Mr. Joshua Booth. Let's go ahead and bring him on to the show. Mr. Booth, can you hear me, sir?
Yep. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Thank you so very much for last minute. I apologize, as I did earlier in the podcast. Man, this week got away on me. I should have been on top of this and getting our pre-week, stuff all lined up. But I'm getting old and forgetful and getting too much stuff on my plate at once there. So, but anyway, we were able to put this thing together, man. This is, tell you what, you got a lot of excited guys coming from Colorado that we know this is not going to be easy taking the home team down, but we are or that Iowa group. But we're feeling pretty good about our shot, man. We got a lot of guys. We're going to overwhelm by numbers.
There's a lot of good clubs that are coming. I mean, there's some. The club competition should be really tight this year, I think.
I agree, man. This is it is just so cool to see all these clubs in the flyover regions here all coming together like this, and we're all converging on one area of the country and having a chance to get out there. I don't know how to explain it yet, and I'm going to keep looking and trying to figure out a way, but the All American Series, and I know this is going to sound self-serving or whatever, but it's the truth, and so I'm going to say it. It just feels different. I've fished the others. I've been to these other events. Our events at the All American just feel different, in a good different, man. I know that these fools are trying to take my money. I'm aware of that, and I want to take their money. But at the same time, I'm excited to go see a bunch of people too. You know what I mean? It's like I haven't had that feeling since I first started like 12 years ago, doing in tournament fishing. And it's very cool. That's what you have built, this community out there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like it's got your local club feel to it. The small time. You and your group of local buddies that are having your local tournaments, only on a bigger scale and on a bigger area. We're traveling, so it is like it's not all hardcore like some of the other series, but it is giving local guys a chance to travel and compete on a little bit higher level while still keeping that same small club feel to it.
Yeah. And make no mistake, the competition level, if you start sleeping for 1 second, you turn into a donor really fast. You might as well just hand your money over and save the gas. But it really is. I mean, these are phenomenal anglers that you get a chance to compete with, some of the best in the country for sure. And it's one of those things that you're excited to get to your destination. And look, I'm already plotting out. I'm like marking on my map where my grocery store is and where my Subway's at, and and it's like, yeah, this is going to set up home there, for a little while when we get into that area. The other thing, small town club, but what you delivered today here and what we're going to share with folks out there with that payout, I want people to understand one major thing that I've been preaching everywhere I go. This is what happens with the All American if we get our numbers up. You know what I mean? If we start putting up fields of 150 anglers out there, payouts start to go through the roof, man. That's the other thing is, if you want to look at it on the business side, as some of us do, I can't help but always look at the business side. You look at your money out compared to the potential of the money back. That's unheard of, man. It's phenomenal. I love it. This payout schedule that you guys have worked together is unbelievable. And so without further ado, let me go ahead. If you're ready for that part, I'll go ahead and pull that up here.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with the way it turned out. I mean, 196 is our final total. I mean, that's a new record. That's got to be one of the biggest tournaments ever in the Midwest, except maybe one of the old KBF national championships or something. But other than that, I mean, that's just a big tournament.
We got 196 kayakers coming in.
Yep, 196. That's the final count.
Yeah, baby. Hell yes. That is awesome. All right. So I'm sure a lot of folks are looking at this. So let's go ahead and let me see if I can get this up here. I'm going to go full screen so folks can see it a lot easier. There we go. So here is the payout for the 2023 All American Kayak Classic. So
There's a lot of different ways to win some money there. A lot of different ways. And even if you're not doing too well on day one and going into day two, still lots of opportunities to win money. So I think everybody should really have a chance and not get discouraged if they don't catch a limit on day one, because there's lots of different opportunities here.
No kidding. I mean, paying down 1st through 20th, that's phenomenal. I love the fact that it doesn't pay out less than, entry fee in. That's phenomenal. Love paying.
Yeah.
Like you said, this big bass pot here that people need to pay attention to. This is the thing. This is what kept me for a third or fourth day down in La Crosse. I stayed extra. I didn't make the cut, but you left it open to us.
Mm-hmm.
$100 per hour, man, to be submitting the biggest bass during that hour. That's phenomenal, dude. You could bank up some cash in a quick hurry on some good fish.
Like I said, one fish can get you that some money. Another good fish can get you some money. So there's lots of different ways that you can win. We're going to do the hourly big bass on both days.
That is freaking cool. And then overall big bass, $500. That is awesome.
Yeah, the big one will get an extra 500. So, I mean, if you catch a couple good fish and win overall, I mean, there's a chance you could win a lot of money.
Yeah, there is. Trash pot.
Another way to win some money by catching junk fish. If you haven't been to Truman Lake before, you should know that there is a lot of different species of fish. Not only is there all three species of bass, but there's a bunch of junk fish in there too. I mean, there's some good stuff like the crappie and catfish. There's tons of those in there, and white bass are fun to catch. But there's also tons of carp and drum and gar and all those nasty, slimy things you don't want to catch during tournament day. But during this tournament, you're going to want to catch one. And I think some guys may even just be targeting some of these fish because that's a pretty good payout just for catching a carp.
That's what I'm saying.
You get the big one on day one and it's $200, and then the overall 600. So you're going to win $800 just for catching a junk fish like a gar or a carp. So,
dude, that is phenomenal. And then of course, here comes the bragging rights one. Top team, best 5 anglers, right? Out of a team, best 5 scores.
That's correct. We're going to combine their best 5 scores for a total. And that's going to be how we determine who is the best club or the top team, and they're going to win that jackpot of $2,000 that they can split up between the winners.
Heck yeah, another $400 per the each one of those guys. That's freaking awesome, man. And one of the things I will say, so Colorado, we've got about 2 or 3 teams that'll be I think 3 teams that are going there. CKFC has their bass and then their multi-species teams, and then the CKB. I'm sorry, the CKFC, Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, they have their 2. And then the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, we have our 1. We were just talking from our side. We have no fat on the bone. Schedule got in the way, so there's only 5 of us for the CKB that are showing up down there. So we all said, all right, we all got to kick in, man. Nobody gets called out of this thing. Yeah. So we all got to go to work. So you got we're going to put our head down, get our chin in the pocket, and get to work out there and see what we can do.
I think we've got 20 or 21 clubs that are going to be represented there.
Dude, that is so freaking awesome. Now, this came about from affiliate club stuff, right? It was people, local clubs working with you, working with the All American, becoming an affiliate club, or is there any process for that? Is it just a matter of register your club with the All American and you're good to go?
Basically anyone can register their club. We've had a real easy standard to qualify. If you have to have at least 3 tournaments a year with at least 10 people.
Okay.
So that's the minimum requirement, which is pretty easy to do. So if you meet that requirement, then all you got to do is send me your roster at the end of the season, and you're in.
And it's the top 10 in points AOI, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
And we also give 2 spots out for the tournament directors. So the tournament director can use it if he wants, or he can give it away as he sees fit.
Perfect. And you guys do accept roll downs to occur in that case.
Yep, we sure do.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because last year we actually had an open qualifier. It was the final open qualifier. So there was about 40 or 50 people that qualified in that tournament. So, when they go back to their club, and if they qualified in their club, then that spot gets rolled down. So
yep.
The club has the ability to get more anglers in this tournament.
That was the situation I was in, as I had, with my third place at Lewis and Clark, I had qualified there. I think I qualified through points as well, so whatever. So we were able to roll, ours. I was really hoping to see 8 or 9, those 2 guys that I just had on would have been phenomenal to definitely, to have out there with us. But yeah, the way, life gets in the way. Excuse me. Scheduling. We can all appreciate that. This is not an easy sport to travel and run around.
Yeah, and everything's getting really expensive right now too, so it makes it even harder.
Isn't it though? And
yeah. It's just getting more expensive just to live right now. So fishing tournaments, I think, are getting a little bit more difficult to go gamble and play with, but still trying.
It is, but I will say this. For those who are lucky enough to take that leap to get into it, if you want to find a healthy way to deal with and manage your, the continued beating that we're taking on the economy and in life out there, this is the way. You know what I mean? I mean, this, to me, there is nothing that morning, feel in a kayak. I fell in love fishing out of a boat, but I'll tell you what, even this old fat guy here, man, I've been rejuvenated in these last 2 years out of a kayak. And what it does, the intimacy it gives you with nature, being close to the water, to the creatures out there. You are so in tune with every noise, especially when you're down south and you got snakes and gators running around you. You are very in tune to everything that's out there.
Yeah, you pretty much forget about everything else that's going on while you're out there in the water for that short period of time, and it's a nice break and getaway.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that is definitely the way, in my opinion, for sure. So now, what year is this for the Classic itself in this form? Is this year 2 or 3?
This is the 4th year we've been doing it, but this is actually the 3rd Classic because we skipped last year to move it to the spring to try and deconflict with all the other championships that were in the fall.
Roger that.
So we kind of skipped a year to let it build up and then move over to April. So this is going to be our first one back in the spring of April. So,
well, if proof is in the pudding, boss, 196 is pretty good time of year, I think, right now, to see us come in, especially for that neck of the woods. I'm stoked to get a chance to fish on those Ozark Lakes, one of the premier Ozark Lakes down there, as far as names are concerned, this time of the year. That's an exciting thing. This is the prospect of this just being an absolute slugfest is definitely there.
Yeah, it could be timing it just right when they start to go up on the beds. I'm hearing some reports about some bucks being seen, and so it might be a little early, but it could be right on. You never know with these fish. We're going to have some rainy weather this week that could change things. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but the water temps are up there. So
I was going to say that from everything I'm seeing on the forecasting, which I don't like them or trust them anymore, but it does look like rain is going to be, but the temperatures don't look that horrid. I mean, the temperature's still going to be in the 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
Wind looks like, kind of normal rain wind, like 10, 15 mile an hour, whatever.
It's a springtime tournament, so you're going to have to be dealing with some of that stuff, but that just adds to the challenge. Everyone has to deal with it too, so that's part of your planning and strategy.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually kind of glad we're on the lake that we're on for the prospects of rain, just because my personal experience, I don't think it'll get hit as hard as some of the others do as far as what rain normally does to these bodies of water.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As far as the visibility and things like that, I think maybe Truman can filter that maybe a little faster.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different parts on the lake that you can go to get away from that. Some creeks could be muddy, some are going to be clear. So Truman is a really big lake. You can find just about whatever you're looking for on there.
I like that. Yeah, for sure. So, well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and prepping this thing. And from all of us, absolutely, that are out there, anglers out there, thank you again so much for being the founder of this feast, man. I am excited and looking forward. I hem-hawed around on whether or not to actually come forward and just talk about that for our next year's, scheduling. But there's no question in my head. It's here. It's relevant. And yeah, man, we're going all in on the All American, and we're going to continue to tell any and everybody we can about this series, because it's what you guys have built out here, or anything close to this is it's for the anglers. If you want to go and see why we love tournament fishing, it is the All American Kayak Series. That's why we love it, without the extra poo that can sometimes come with this stuff. So
yeah,
we're loving that for sure, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I also want to throw out there too, I mean, as far as the classic check-in goes, I've been getting a lot of questions about that. Thursday, we're going to do a check-in between 5 and 7 p.m. at Everhart's Outdoors. I understand that some people may not be able to make it into town at that time, so it's not required. We're not doing a board check. Basically, we need you to come into Everhart's and declare what club you're going to be fishing under. We're going to be keeping track of our scores that way manually. So, because Tourney X can't do none of this. This is a bunch of work that we've got to do. So we've come up with the process. So just come into Everhart's, walk around the store, check it out. There's a ton of stuff there. Probably keep you there for a while. But yeah, we'll have some tables set up. Just come over, give us your name, declare your club, and you're good to go. And we'll do an online briefing, and we'll do some talking there. But I mean, it should only, if you want to just come in and check in and go, then you can do that as well. You don't have to stick around. So I just want to throw that out there. We're trying to make it as easy as possible, and try to accommodate people that may not be in town yet and people that are already in town. So it's a lot thrown in there, but that's all we're going to do is just check in so we can keep track of the clubs on Thursday.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And I will second you. Everhart's is phenomenal, dude. I love going there. It's actually literally, it's a waypoint on my Google Earth. I pinned it on there so I could make sure it's like, yes, that's always stop by there. And they've got kayaks on hand. They've got loads of tackle in there, and people in there know what the heck they're talking about, and they can steer you in the right direction, when it comes to getting loaded out. It's a lot of cool gadgets and fun for sure.
Yeah, and if anybody's leaving some gear behind or forgot something, like I always forget something, but they'll have anything you need there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. It's having a pro shop that close, that's priceless. That's a very, very cool thing to rely on. What would you say, for those of us who call ourselves, foodies, if you will, in the Clinton area, if there's a place that you got to go eat, is there one like that comes to your mind?
There's a few to try out. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head. It's right down the road from Everhart's on Highway 13.
Okay. What kind of food?
It's just a family restaurant.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, that can't be too hard to find.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot down through there.
No, there's really not.
We stayed, by the way, my wife and I drove back from South Carolina last, I guess this was a week and a half ago now. And we were so hell-bent on staying out of Illinois that we took the long way from the south, and we come up through, and we come up right through. Plus, I also got a chance to put my eyes on Truman just to kind of see where the water levels were at as we drove over a couple times. And we stayed at the Park View. Is it Parkview Inn?
Parkfield Inn, yeah.
Parkfield Inn, yes. We actually stayed there. That's a nice place. That's a really nice place.
Yeah, that's where I always stay every time. That's where I'm staying for the Classic too. And they've set aside a block of rooms for the anglers for this too, to make sure that we had enough lodging for everybody. So
that's super cool.
I would say that Parkfield Inn is probably the best place to stay in Clinton.
I'm not going to mention the name because, quite honestly, I don't remember the name, but I pulled up to a different place and in a similar price range, and there was literally one car there, and walked in and said, and was told that the cleaning lady never showed, so they have no rooms. And I'm looking at homie as he's watching TV, and you can ask my wife the things that I said on the way out. I'm like,
I bet.
Bro, I've been on the road for 15 hours, and you're telling me you couldn't pick up a bottle of, cleaner and make a bed yourself? I'm like,
Yeah.
I
And
don't
there's
expect.
nobody there anyway, so maybe there wasn't even a room to clean.
Nah, I don't expect that to last very long. You don't last long if you don't take care. But yeah, we went to Parkview or Field.
Park Field Inn.
Parkfield. We went over there. They took awesome care of us, and yeah, we had a good night's sleep there.
Yeah, they got a pretty decent breakfast there too.
Nice. We were out on the road before we had a chance at that. We were ready to get home. We had another 10 hours to go. So yeah, awesome, man. Well, listen, is there anything else that we want to hit here with this week coming in, leading up? I can't think of anything to cover.
No, I can't either. We'll get everything finalized on Thursday, and we'll announce everything on the online captain's meeting video. Any new changes that come into place or any additional prizes that we're going to pay out.
Perfect.
So we'll get it all announced Thursday, and then we'll get it started on Friday.
And as a reminder, between 5 and 7 on Thursday at Everhart's is check-in.
Yep, and I'll be there. Tyler will be there. We might be there a little early too. So if you need to get there earlier, come on in. And if you can't make it, just go ahead and just shoot me a message Thursday night, and just declare your club that way, and then I'll go ahead and write it down for you so we can get it taken care of. Don't give it to me before then, because I'll forget or I'll lose it. So
Agreed.
wait till Thursday, please.
Perfect. And then, yeah, we go live Friday, Saturday. Lots of money getting paid out here. Awesome stuff. Well, listen, brother.
Well over 30,000.
That is, yeah. And considering this, yeah, how you.
And we've got the trail series going on at the same time. So guys that are double dipping, we're going to pay out a couple $1,000 at least in the trail series too. So somebody's going to take home some money if they double dip.
Do you have the numbers on the trail series on how many have signed up for that yet?
I think it's right around 30 right now.
Okay. I'm one of those 30. I was looking forward to that. So yeah, that's I figured, you know what, we're going in. Let's just go all in. Why not? This will be the first time I've ever done two, back to back. I usually opt out of that. I try to stay focused because
it works out good if you get on the fish.
Yeah, that'll be the key.
Yeah, usually is.
Isn't it though? All right. Well, listen, man, again, thank you so very much for everything. We're excited. It's Classic Week, folks. Go check out the All American Kayak Series. Be following along with this one. And if this is something, after you watch this and you see this thing in unfold, man, get this on your calendar for next season. Join the rest of the season here. Start getting your qualifications in for next year's All American. We've got some awesome stops on the board here. We're going to Okoboji, I think, is next after all this. We'll be covering a bunch of that stuff. That is going to be just a blast going there that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's been a good one every year.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got a lot of cool things coming down the line out there. Mr. Booth, you go get yourself some rest and get ready for a crazy week of all of us coming into town, nagging on you, needing things for the whole time. And we will see you at Everhart's, I'm sure.
See you Thursday.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us. We're going to wrap up this episode of the True Patriot Outfitters podcast. Likes, follows, shares, subscribes. Please get out there and do that for us. That is a huge help. Thank you to everybody that joined us live here and with the interactions and so forth. And if you're watching this recorded, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch some of our little content here. Again, all of this goes towards helping us stay on the mission with the True Patriot Outfitters, Romans Warrior Foundation, Stop 22 Tour. All of this is for that at the end of the day. That is why we do this. This is why we're trying to bring these worlds together to put this in and have some fun along the way with that. So, again, this episode, Trocar, Eagle Claw, go check them out. We are excited to have them on board with us for this from here on out with this coming season here. And check out Tyler J, his music at Tyler J Music, all those from our intro out there. As always, folks, be ready for a bunch of content this week. We're going to try to get as much as we can together and throwing it at you from the Classic down there. Go Colorado teams, Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, Tight Lines, y'all, and Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. I'll see you boys down there. To everybody else out there, tight lines and be safe.
On